Studio Bovine. Today we have Josh Aleri from Melbourne University. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. We spoke with you 2 years ago in Cairns. So you did research, you were doing research then around immunity and about genetics. Can you briefly explain what it was about and what happened since then?
Okay. So 2 years ago I started research on looking at the relationships between immune response as a survival longevity trait that can be incorporated into a breeding program for the improvement of transitioning cow or peripaturient cows, which mainly is the time period between calving. Yeah.
And what did you find so far? Did you find the secrets to make sure that the next generation of cattle is much more resistant?
We got some really interesting results. So, because our objective was to look at the relationships between immune response with some health and production traits. So one of the production traits we were looking at was growth rate, and we had some positive or favorable correlation where animals with higher growth rate had similarly stronger immune responses. And also we looked at stress responsiveness and resistance to internal parasites. So the same animals with better immune response still had less stress. They had less stress responsiveness, as well as the animals with good immune response still had more resistance to internal parasites.
Okay, is any of that research already applicable on a farm level?
Yes, it could be applicable at the farm level in terms of if we are able to select or identify the animals which have better immune response and also the animals with low immune response, we are able to tell the farmer that these are the animals which have better immune response and low immune response. So in terms of management, that the farmer can prepare for that, and with preparation he might be able to improve the health of those animals which have a kind of low immune response, which puts them at a higher risk of getting infectious as well as metabolic diseases.
Okay, and I imagine that also has effect on animal well-being.
In terms of animal well-being, when the animals are sick or when the animals are not performing well, that affects the well-being or the welfare of the animals. So we are striving to improve animal welfare mainly at the transition stage, which is 3 weeks before and after calving, and that's the time period when farmers or the cattle health and welfare is highly compromised. Yes.
Exactly. And you did this research like in Australia where it's like pasture based. What can you say, is it applicable to other countries who have the same kind of farming system?
So what we are doing initially started in Canada, which is an intensive production system where animals are housed, and in Australia, which is more of a pasture-based production system where animals graze. So for us to be able to replicate the same, we had to look at the relationships of immune responsiveness in a different production system, and to actually have tangible results to show that immune responsiveness and health or other production traits do have a relationship. Yes.
So you think you can use the same results that you have in Australia into another country where they have the same kind of system?
Yes, yes indeed. Yep.
And 2 years ago you just won the Gustav Rosenberger Memorial Fund. How did it change your career?
I think at that time point it was really useful because our efforts in improving cattle health and food production were highly recognized, and the fund did assist a lot in terms of developing my career as a researcher. I was able to advance myself. I more specifically attained memberships in epidemiology, which formed a core component in my study. So I was able to pay for the fees and facilitate a little bit of some travel, and also join some research groups. So the funds were really useful.
Great. Yes. So what's next?
A lot of things. So continuing to do research and also teach, which is part of my career objectives, to be a professor in capital medicine. Yes.
That's great. Good luck with that, and I hope to see you again in 2 years' time.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Yep, thank you.
Thank you for watching Studio Bovine, and hope to see you again.